Today I answer an email from a second-year student who is struggling as to what her major should be. Let's dive in. Hey guys, it's Brian back at you with another video where my goal is to mentor you to a rewarding career and to help you create a life you're proud of. And in that endeavor, I have an email from a second-year student who is really struggling and she feels like she's under the gun to find a major. And I really want to go through the email with you guys line by line and break it down so that we can figure out what's going on and of course share some advice to help her out. All right, so here goes. I'm torn on my major in university and was hoping for some advice. So I started off in a media studies major because I have always been obsessed with technology, people, social media, and writing. This is really interesting. This is actually really cool. It sounds like she has some direction as to where she wants to go. She likes technology, people, social media, and writing. And I think these are really powerful skill sets to have. This is really important. And I'd like to see that she has already told me right off the bat what she likes. So let's continue. I also have a passion for the skincare industry and aesthetics field too, so I decided to go into nursing instead. See, now here's what I noticed right off the bat. I mean, if you are going technology, people, social media, and writing, and on the other hand, you've got aesthetics, skincare industry, and somehow nursing's in there. And this is really insightful for me. I feel like there's a lot of disconnecting parts here, and this is kind of giving me insight as to what she's thinking about. And I think she's really torn, and it's really showing that you've got aesthetics, skincare, and nursing, and I just don't see how those two relate, but I think in her mind she thinks it relates, so that is kind of telling. Now she goes on to say, I realize that I do not want to work in a hospital, but in order to become a registered nurse, I would need to do clinicals in the hospital. And I would have to deal with the vomit, blood, urine, etc. Absolutely true, and this is really good information, and I'm glad she actually went through this process to realize nursing ain't for her. It's not for everyone. It is a very high-stress job, and you are dealing with a lot of patients who are sick, so you are dealing with vomit, blood, that type of thing. I actually went through a similar process when I was in university thinking that I wanted to become a doctor, only to have volunteered and realize, you know what, this isn't the environment I want to be working with. It was very draining, very depressing. It just wasn't my thing. And I realized that I needed to focus my energy and attention elsewhere. And I really like what she's done. She's realized that too. And now she can use this as an opportunity to focus on the aesthetics part, as well as her social media technology side, if she wanted to, and just cancel out the whole nursing idea altogether. Then she goes on saying, that was the only downside of that profession that prevents me from getting to my dream job in a skincare clinic. Really? Is that really your dream job? It could be, but I really think you don't know, and I really feel that you are torn, and at the same time you are very young. So I don't really trust you saying that this is your dream job. It could be, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's important to know that you talked about social media, writing, and working with people, and then at the same time you have this whole idea of working in a skincare clinic, and now that is your dream job. There's a real disconnect there, and I think we really need to address that. And then she reveals, the reason I am unsure with media is that the salary is uncertain and jobs are a lot less available. She, like many others, right now is letting money dictate what her career should be. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but what's more important is that the career that you choose is still high paying, but also congruent with your values, with your character, with your skill set, with your strengths. It might not be something that you love doing, but at least what you are doing is energizing you, is giving you that positive feedback that you need to get back into the office the next day so that you go in on Monday refreshed, charged up, and ready to go. I have been researching a lot about different majors, and I feel like it just makes me more confused. Yes, you are researching the majors, and now it's time to stop thinking about the majors as the endpoint, but instead focus on the career and the jobs that you want as the endpoint. Research the jobs, not the majors. She then continues with, while in university, I have been really enjoying history and political science, so now I am thinking about becoming a teacher for social studies. So I get the sense that you are very lost. You're going from social media, technology, people, writing, to wanting to become a nurse to wanting to get into a skincare clinic as your dream job, but now you want to do social studies. You're definitely being pulled in many directions, and it's very transparent and very apparent that this is happening, and I feel the struggle, I feel the pressure. You're rushing to get to the right major, to get to the right career, and you're trying to commit to it mentally. It's normal, and I can sense that you are stressed, and I sense the urgency here. So she then says, as you can see, I am becoming more lost, and as my first year comes to an end, I need to get my major right. You're only in your second year, and in the long term, in the big scheme of things, you have plenty of time on your side. And there is this urgency, I get it, from an academic level to pick your major. But realistically, there isn't really pressure. You have plenty of years to go. There are plenty of other people who go back to school in their 40s and their 50s, and they have a great career after that fact. So yes, there's pressure, but it's not as urgent as you think it is. And I really think when you're young, you have a lot of time to screw up. You have a lot of time to make mistakes and be okay with it. Finally, she ends with, as of now, I am just really conflicted between 3 different fields like media, teaching, and nursing. Any advice? I remember in my second year, and I was sitting in a room, we were waiting for the lecture to finish, a different lecture before we could all go into the class, and one of the girls there was really stressing out as to what her major should be. She was losing sleep over it, she was talking to her mom all night about it, and then I think she decided that day what her major was, and I think she wanted to go into teaching. And I just feel like that is way too rushed. How can you decide what you want to do within one night? You can't. This is a career that you want to do for the rest of your life. For you to determine that within one night by talking to your mom or to your dad isn't enough. What you're experiencing here is absolutely normal, and I think it's not just you. There are hundreds, if not thousands, and tens of thousands of students who are in the exact same position. And what I don't appreciate is the pressure from the academic world to force you to choose what major you want. Look, in the grand scheme of things, you got lots of time. In the scheme of academia and the scheme of a 4-year bachelor's degree, yeah, you need to choose a major today, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be a 4-year degree. You can expand that out for another 2 years, and in my opinion, you're better off doing that, and in that 2 years to really figure out what you want to do and then figure out what major you need, rather than doing the wrong major, finishing that up in 4 years, and then having to go back to school again and starting from scratch. So to help guide you, let me ask you a few questions. When you have free time, we've got time to kill, when you're a little bit bored, what do? Do you go online and start searching on YouTube or Google as to what the latest technology is or what the latest is in terms of media or social media? Or do you use that time to find out the latest technology or latest developments in aesthetics? The other question I want to ask is, what's your plan after you've picked your major? What happens after you graduate? Do you want to work in a skincare clinic forever? Or do you want to be a social studies teacher forever? What's your plan, not 5 years out, but 10 years out, 20 years out? Are you going to be happy in that field doing that same thing over and over again? Or do you want more? And the idea of these questions is to give you some longer term insight. If you want to do more, if you think you're going to be bored working in a skincare clinic for the next 35 years, then it's time to start thinking about what you want to do after that and really work to that goal today. And if you're still not sure as to what you want to do, and that's probably the case, now is the real time to start networking and talking to other people. For example, if you want to become a social studies teacher, it's time to talk to your old social studies teachers and ask them what they like, what they don't like about their job, how their career development is going, to ask them how much money one can make in that position. You could also have this conversation with someone who's in the tech industry, or maybe who's already a nurse, or someone who's working in a skincare clinic. And the goal here is to explore what their career is like and to see other factors that you think will play a real part in determining what career or major you need to choose that is beyond money, right? You really want to see what that work-life balance is like, what the career development path is like, and what the work environment is like. And you want to see how happy these people are. Are they happy in their jobs? Do they really want to get something else out of it? What's their path? Where are they going to be in 5 years, in 10 years? And is that something that you want to do? At the end of the day, I know you need to find your major, But the real message I want to hammer in today is that you need to start focusing on the career that you want. Explore the careers, not the majors. Let me know how it goes and then get back to me. So there you go, guys. I hope you found today's video helpful. If you have a question that you'd like me to answer in a future video, go to my website, 101mentoring.com. Remember, my goal is to help you find a rewarding career and to ultimately create a life you're proud of. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.